Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another album review. Every day is a school day for me. You just never know what you're going to learn from one day to the next in the wacky world of music, no matter what style or genre. And this is one of those tales. This is Frost and Life in the Wire. Is that right? Life in the Wires, even. This is the first time I've ever heard this band. And that's happened to me so many times this year. In fact, I can't even think of Caligula's Horse, Wheel, are two really good examples. There were so many. This is a progressive rock band, but this is new progressive rock. Those of you who read Prog magazine are way ahead of me, I know. Bit like Big Train's album this year. One of my favourite albums of the year. And this is also one of my favourite albums of the year. So what's it like? It does have elements of Big Train to it. There are elements of Transatlantic. There are elements of Life Signs. And there are elements of The Tangent. But it's uniquely this band called Frost. And the musicianship is just absolutely stellar. It's intricate. I'm not going to try and disassemble the tracks one by one because there is so much going on, but it isn't ultra mathematical complex stuff. There's no real distorted metallic guitars. There are some later on in the album, but overall it isn't that kind of music really. Those of you who know this band, bear with me. Those of you who don't, and I feel there's probably quite a few of you, Craig Blundell on drums, Jem Godfrey on keyboards, guitar and vocals, Nathan King on bass and vocals, John Mitchell guitar, vocals, written by mainly Jem Godfrey, who's the keyboard guitarist. And it's a double album, because it should be, shouldn't it? If you're going to be, if you're going to do a concept album, because that's what it is, then it has to be on double vinyl. And really then, to really add to the whole thing, you might as well put it on blood red transparent vinyl as well. There is a story behind this, but I'm not going to go into that. But there is like a narrator, a bit like, remember those radios? I'd want to pick up, I was an aircraft spotter when I was a kid. I had one of these radios that just looked like that, and you undid these two things at the bottom where you could get the batteries in and out. So I'm connected, I'm there. But this is so many twists and turns in this music. There's so many different things. I mean, one track, a solid state orchestra, a lovely piano, great chord sequences, the vocal harmonies they remind me of kind of Neil Morse Transatlantic, but they are the band The Frost. It's one of my favourite tracks. Is hypnotic guitar on there, very uplifting. The drum rhythms are different, but then we move into 4/4. It's different elements, and it just feels absolutely wonderful. Other tracks I'd made comments on was Empowerment, great vocals. It's an energetic track. It's tuneful. It's melodic. Soft piano. Achingly beautiful in places, some of this music is. Ambient, perhaps, in places. There's also School on side 3. This is a good one. This is like a symphonic riff. It's very dramatic. And I'd put down here, it was kind of... This is probably where you get the first elements of like really heavy riffage, but lots of things going on as well. One of the tracks... Which one was it? Moral and Consequence. That's it. Last track on side 3. It's one of my favourites. Very offbeat, very quirky, lush vocals, fabulous riffs. Bit of Dream Theater creeps in here for the first time, I feel. And also on side 4, where we basically just have 2 tracks, which is Life in the Wires Part 2, this does have a deep dream theatre kind of feel, kind of Octavarian aspect of dream theatre. It's got some incredible Hammond playing. You know what I'm like about Hammond. Absolutely love that. And it's just amazing. One of the things that I want to say about music like this, because as you see, I'm struggling to think of the words that can convey what I feel about it, is that especially as I know the demographic that a lot of people have watched my Now Spinning Magazine YouTube channel, and although Now Spinning Magazine is a magazine, it's a website and everything else, I'm very aware that out there are people of a certain age of which I could be put in that bracket, where there are videos talking about the 10 greatest prog albums of all time, and we'll have, like, you know, Tales of Topographic Oceans, Fragile, Lamb Lies Down, and everything else. And there are so many of these channels and videos doing things like that, and thousands of people watch them, and I might even do one of those myself. I probably should. Where I'm trying to go with this conversation is that this album, if this had been released in the 70s, which it couldn't have done, obviously, but if it had, it would be in the same camp as Tales of Topographic Oceans or Fragile or Lamb Lies Down. It would be there. It would have blown those out of the water. It would have been able to do that. Now, some of you are going, Phil, you know what you're talking about. All I'm going to say to you is listen to it. Listen to it with fresh ears from 2024, because maybe something would have blown them out of the water. Obviously, Yes and Genesis are classic bands. But what I'm trying to say is it is as good as, because we're talking about music in that case, which is over 50 years old. At what point, and that music is so big, it's so huge, that how does anything new get heard over the enormity and the weight of the mountain that is like a Fragile by Yes, for instance? How do you get past it? And also, when you've been listening to Fragile since 1971 and it's 2024 and you've heard this album a few times, how does the neural networks in your brain allow something new to creep in? I approach this like that. I tried to literally empty my brain like an empty cup. I think sometimes your cup can be so full that there's no room for anything new to come into it. You just overflow. I basically approach this thinking, what's it going to be like? And I absolutely adore it. And I know lots of people in the music group have bought this and are saying it's probably going to be one of the albums of the year. And I'll be honest, it was seeing other people talk about it that made me think, what's that like? I wasn't aware of the band Frost. A lot of people are saying this is like their first album, so I'm going to go there next. But this, to me, is absolutely an incredible album that anyone, if you're into rock music or progressive rock music and you think there's nothing new out there, you've heard it all before, listen to this. This is just gorgeous. It's not guitar riff driven. There are some moments in that as the album progresses, but it's just a great complete set. It's just a great album, a piece of music to listen to from beginning to end. As I said, I can't find enough words to try and explain to people who don't know this band to listen to this and buy it. Stream it and then buy it on CD or vinyl. But this is going to be in my top albums of 2024, without doubt. And to me, it belongs up there with those classic prog albums from the 70s. This, to me, is up there, and it isn't going to something that's going to fade away because I'll get tired of it and I'll always go back to the classics. This, to me, is that good. That is Frost. Life Within the Wires. It's a great story, great concept, and the musicianship is stunning. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Music is the healer and the doctor. Give this a listen. Thank you so much for being here. Keep spinning those discs, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.